healthcare worker murdered in her home, police say by her husband. This is a tragic case that has rocked the small Butler County community where that couple lived.
Also tonight, questions swirl after an apparent murder-suicide in Butler County. Police say a man confessed to killing his wife before killing himself.
They're all hurting right now. They're all in shock. They're all in disbelief. They can't believe that this has happened to her. And she was very well liked within the physician assistant program. She was very well liked. She was loved in the sorority.
It was 1:15 a.m. on a Tuesday in Seven Fields, Pennsylvania. Graywick Drive, like any other street in this quiet suburb, was enveloped in silence. It was the kind of night where the neighborhood sleeps, undisturbed, until the peace was shattered by a sequence of events that would leave an entire community asking the same haunting question. On April 28, 2026, a call reached local authorities, setting into motion an investigation that would uncover a reality far darker than anyone in this quiet enclave could have imagined. Two promising lives, a neurovascular critical care physician assistant and an engineer, had reached the end of their story. But the narrative left behind is filled with more gaps than answers. It was a sequence of events that unfolded in mere minutes, but for those who knew the couple, the why behind this night remains the most haunting question of all. Welcome back to the Dark Minds. We specialize in the deep dive investigations of the stories that shape our world, meticulously piecing together the timeline, the facts, and the human elements behind the headlines. Please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an investigation. We love hearing from our global community. Let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from today? To understand the tragedy that unfolded on Graywick Drive, we have to move past the headlines and look at the individuals at the center of this story. Because when you strip away the suddenness of the event, you are left with two lives that by every measurable standard were defined by promise, dedication, and ambition. Madeline Spatafore, at 25, was a person who seemingly had everything ahead of her. A graduate of Seneca Valley High School, she went on to carve out a rigorous path in the medical field. In 2023, she graduated summa cum laude from Duquesne University, an achievement that speaks to a level of discipline and intellect that few attain. By November of 2024, she had established herself as a neurovascular critical care physician assistant at UPMC Presbyterian. In that role, she was on the front lines of high-stakes medicine, working in an environment that demands calm under pressure and an unwavering focus on the survival of others. Those who knew her described her not just by her professional titles, but by the same tenacity that led her to excel in the classroom and on the soccer fields back in her high school days. Then there was 26-year-old Ryan Hosso, also a graduate of Seneca Valley. He followed a path into the world of engineering. Most recently, he was employed as an applications engineer at Baltech Corporation based in Canonsburg. Before that, his career had led him through various roles in the Pittsburgh engineering sector, including time at Vavco. His professional life placed him in technical, problem-solving environments where precision was the currency. Their lives had been intertwined for years. They were high school sweethearts from the Seneca Valley area, a bond that grew from the hallways of their youth into a committed future. In September of 2024, they took the formal step of marriage in Wooster, Ohio, marking the beginning of what looked to the outside world like a new chapter. They were a young couple, successful, educated, and seemingly grounded in the familiar geography of the community they grew up in.
According to their wedding registry, the couple got married in the fall of 2024. Spatafore was a physician assistant at UPMC and had graduated from Duquesne University. Philip Clark used to work at the university and says he met Madeline when he was an advisor for her sorority.
It was the kind of hour that typically separates the quiet of the night from the coming dawn, a time when the world feels most isolated and communication feels the most fragile. On that Tuesday morning, April 28, 2026, time took on a terrifying new dimension. Miles away in the quiet solitude of their own home, the parents of Ryan Hosso received a call that no parent is ever prepared to answer. It was a call that shattered the distance between states. What transpired in those few moments was not a conversation, but a desperate, frantic realization. According to reports, the call made it clear that a severe and irreversible act had already occurred and that further harm was imminent. In an instant, the geography of the situation, the miles between the parents and the residents on Graywick Drive, became a source of absolute dread. The parents, thrust into a nightmare, acted with the frantic, singular focus of trying to stop the unthinkable. They reached out to the Northern Regional Police Department, providing the crucial, agonizing details that would trigger the emergency response. For the officers at the Northern Regional Station, the call was an alarm that demanded immediate, unwavering action. There was no room for hesitation, no margin for error, and no time to pause. Officers began the rapid process of dispatching units to the Seven Fields address. Every second spent in transit, every mile covered under the cover of darkness, was a race against a clock that was already winding down. The parents acted with incredible urgency, navigating state lines and local jurisdictions to alert the authorities, but the timeline was razor thin, and the window to prevent the inevitable was already closing. When the first responders from the Northern Regional Police Department arrived on Graywick Drive, the suburban silence of Seven Fields was broken by the flashing lights of an emergency perimeter. The officers had moved with deliberate speed, their training guiding every step as they secured the residence. Inside, they were met with a scene that fundamentally shifted the nature of the emergency, confirming the tragic outcome that the earlier phone calls had desperately portended. Securing the scene was only the first priority. With the residents under control, the investigative focus expanded rapidly. It was quickly determined that the person involved was not on the premises, triggering an immediate and critical search operation. The area surrounding the home, typically a peaceful stretch of residential development, was transformed into a tactical grid. Law enforcement officials, coordinating across municipal lines, began a focused sweep of the immediate vicinity, knowing that every moment was vital. As the search intensified, Northern Regional Police Chief Brian DeWick later confirmed the deployment of specialized resources to bridge the gap in the darkness. Officers utilized advanced thermal drone technology, an airborne eye capable of detecting heat signatures amidst the dense foliage of the early morning. This was not a passive search. It was a high-stakes effort, with teams fanning out into the dark. The search parameters stretched from the backyard of the Graywick Drive residence and extended into the wooded, unmapped terrain that crosses the borough line into Cranberry Township. It was here, within that dense, dark corridor of trees, that the search ultimately concluded. After roughly an hour of coordinated effort, the thermal technology provided the visual confirmation the authorities were searching for. Law enforcement successfully located the suspect in that wooded expanse, bringing the physical search phase of the operation to a close. However, while the perimeter was secured and the facts of the locations were established, the completion of the physical search only opened the door to a much deeper, more complex investigation. With the scene secured and the investigation underway, local authorities and the public were left with a devastating reality. But as the forensics units processed the home on Graywick Drive, the motive, the catalyst, and the final moments remained buried in silence.
State police are investigating here because Madeline was found dead in Seven Fields and her husband was found dead technically in Cranberry Township. Now, Ryan Hosso's LinkedIn page says he works as a mechanical engineer for Vavco. Now, I talked to a manager. He told me that he hasn't worked there for about 3 years and he considered him bright and clever.
Police got a call early this morning from Ryan Hosso's parents saying he told them he had shot and killed his wife and he was talking about taking his own life.
Northern Regional PD responded to the residents and they did find a female victim, about 25 years old, with multiple gunshot wounds.
In the immediate wake of the events on Graywick Drive, the community of Seven Fields and the wider professional circles in which Madeline and Ryan moved was left in a state of profound disorientation. When a tragedy of this magnitude strikes a neighborhood that prides itself on its quiet suburban stability, the shockwaves are immediate. In the hours and days that followed, the silence of the neighborhood was replaced by the solemn process of grieving, as those who had worked alongside the couple began to process the sudden loss. Professional organizations, too, were left to grapple with the news. Both UPMC Presbyterian, where Madeline Spatafore had been a dedicated physician assistant, and firms associated with Ryan Hosso's career path, found themselves addressing the void left by their absence. Statements of condolence began to emerge, acknowledging the professional contributions of two individuals who had, until the early hours of Tuesday, been active members of the workforce. For many, the news was not just personal, it was a professional shock, leaving colleagues and former advisors to reconcile the bright, promising figures they knew with the darkness that had ultimately unfolded. Yet as the community attempts to find closure, the official investigation continues. The Pennsylvania State Police have assumed the lead in this inquiry, moving beyond the initial emergency response to conduct a comprehensive analysis of the circumstances. Among the most haunting aspects of the ongoing investigation is the absence of a public trail. Investigators have noted that there were no prior reports of domestic disputes or incidents that might have alerted neighbors or authorities to the volatility behind the closed doors of the Graywick Drive residence.
Our crime unit will be talking to the neighbors to try to get like a history of what was going on and see if there was anything that they noticed out of place, but I don't have those details right now.
Ken, a neighbor tells me that the couple, they were high school sweethearts. They both went to Seneca Valley, and that they were living in the home that Madeline Spatafore grew up in, which is behind me up the street. No one knows what led up to this tragedy.
For a story that ended in such a definitive and devastating manner, the lack of a visible history leaves a void where understanding should be, a reality that often defines the most difficult cases in our files. We are left looking at the photos and the resumes of two promising young professionals, asking how a story that began in the hallways of Seneca Valley High School could end in such a quiet, tragic way. But these questions are not just about this specific event. They are about the pressures that exist silently in the lives of those around us. As the investigation continues, we want to hear from you. In an era of high-stress careers and personal pressures, what signs are we missing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.